Sometimes people think laziness means failure. But what if I told you that one lazy boy, who didn't even like standing up from the ground, discovered a way to outsmart everyone, including the strongest people in his kingdom? And not only that, his laziness became the very thing that helped him succeed. Stay with me, because this story carries a life-changing lesson about mindset, motivation, and how to turn weakness into strength. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, lived a boy named Ryan. He wasn't bad, he wasn't unkind, he wasn't even foolish, but Ryan had one big problem. He was lazy. Every morning, his father would go out to work in the rice fields. Ryan's only job was simple: chase the birds away so they wouldn't eat the crops. Most kids would grab a stick or a slingshot and run around shouting. But Ryan thought, why waste so much energy? Instead, he built tall wooden poles, tied ropes across them, and pulled them while lying on the ground. With one tug, the ropes shook, the birds flew away, and Ryan, well, he could just relax in the shade. His father often looked at him with worry. If I ever get sick, how will Ryan take care of everything? But since the crops stayed safe, he never scolded him. Then, one hot summer, the dry season came, and with it, something his father had feared for years: illness. His father grew so weak, he couldn't leave the bed. Suddenly, all the responsibility fell on Ryan. Now, chasing birds was easy, but watering the fields, plowing, carrying heavy buckets under the burning sun, that was a different story. Ryan tried, he truly did, but he wasn't used to hard work. Days passed, the crops dried, and slowly, the family's hopes withered with them. One night, Ryan sat outside under the stars, his heart heavy. For the first time, he whispered to himself, why didn't I ever try harder? Why did I waste my days being lazy? Now I'm losing everything that matters. The next morning, a loud voice echoed through the village square. A soldier announced, the king has declared a grand competition at the palace. The winner will receive a chest of gold. Ryan's eyes widened. Gold that could save his family. Without overthinking, he stepped forward and said, I'll join. The villagers laughed. Ryan, the laziest boy in the village, competing with warriors and athletes from across the kingdom. But Ryan didn't care. Something inside him had changed. He wasn't just chasing money. He was chasing a reason big enough to fight his laziness, his family's future. After 3 long days of travel, Ryan reached the palace grounds. The first challenge was announced: cross a giant lake, and only the top 3 would move to the next round. Strong men and women dove into the water like arrows, but Ryan froze. I'll never beat them at swimming. Then suddenly, his lazy brain whispered, think smarter, not harder. He ran into the forest, grabbed branches, tied them together, and made a raft. Using a stick as a paddle, he floated across slowly, steadily, while the swimmers grew tired and sank. Ryan glided forward. By the end, he finished 3rd, just enough to qualify. The next day, the final challenge began. Each contestant faced a giant wooden block. The rule was simple: push it 1 kilometer to the finish line. Tools were available, but only one could be chosen. The first contestant grabbed a rope and started pulling with raw strength. The second used a wooden lever. Both struggled, sweating and groaning under the sun. Ryan stood still, thinking. He whispered to himself, I can't win with muscles. I need to win with ideas. Slowly, he picked up a small knife. The crowd gasped. What good is a knife against such a block? But Ryan didn't push. He carved. he cut the block into a round shape like a giant wheel. And then, with one big shove, it rolled forward, faster and faster. Soon, he was ahead of the others. With grit in his heart and determination in his eyes, Ryan crossed the finish line first. The crowd erupted in cheers. The boy everyone called lazy had just beaten the strongest in the land. Ryan took the chest of gold back to his village, but more importantly, he carried a new truth. Laziness isn't always weakness. Sometimes it hides creativity. But creativity alone isn't enough. You need. Ryan found his why in his family's survival. That reason gave him the strength to push beyond comfort. So, my friend, here's the lesson. If you ever feel lazy, don't just beat yourself up. Instead, find your reason. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your dream. Maybe it's proving to the world and to yourself that you can. Because once your reason is strong enough, even the laziest person can move mountains. So don't give up. Don't underestimate yourself. Like Ryan, think smarter, find your why, and roll your block all the way to success.